Well, it seems like out of absolutely nowhere, JJK is back at the forefront of everyone's attention once again, with the absolutely phenomenal trailer for Season 3 and the announcement of multiple spin-off series, one of them the topic of today's video, JJK Mojuro. Now, I'd like to clarify before we start, I've seen both Modulo and Mojuro all over the internet as the supposed title for this thing, and am I wrong in assuming it's almost certainly the latter? Pretty sure there are no darn L sounds in Japanese, but I may be misinformed. Anyway, the first chapter came out pretty darn soon after this thing was announced, days after the fact if I'm not mistaken, and it has a lot going on. But I'm going to be moving forward under the assumption that you've either read chapter 1, already know what happens, or don't care. Because today, I want to talk about my predictions for where I think this story might be heading and what might happen along the way. So without further ado, let's dive in. My first prediction is not so much a what is gonna happen, and more of a what isn't gonna happen. That being retcons of JJK. An example of this would be something like, and it turns out that Sukuna was actually part alien this whole time. No, we're not gonna do that. What's my reasoning? Well, number one, it'd be really dumb. Like, really fucking stupid. I think making changes to the series you're based upon in an attempt to drive attention to the spin-off is really cheap and rarely going to be received well. The Sukuna thing especially would also just be a detriment to his narrative. He is made more interesting by having been human at one point. If they all of a sudden tell me he's from planet Glop, I'm putting the damn manga down. Now, do I have any substantial evidence to prove they won't do something like this down the line? Well, no. But I'm predicting they won't anyway, because say what you will about that sly Cyclops cat, but I think he's actually got more respect for the world he created than people give him credit for. Okay, next up is actually another I think this isn't gonna happen, but I believe that this one has a bit more backing behind it. Now guys, don't get me wrong, grizzled old man Yuji would be tough. That shit would have levels of motion previously unseen, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Killing off Maki and Yuta in the first chapter, who to our knowledge are the closest members of the old cast to our new protagonists, kinda says to me that they're trying to tell a story about a new generation with ties to the old, but not leaning on them as active participants in the narrative. Now, if my perception of the story they're trying to tell doesn't convince you, then this panel should. Maybe even just this bubble here. Okay, you may have a different interpretation, but the way I understand this is that Satoru Gojo and Yuji Itadori aren't around in nowadays Japan. Well, we know that's most certainly true for one of them. Don't tell Jujutsu folk I said that. But this means Yuji is either dead or in, like, Malaysia or something. And if he is, let me be clear, I hope he stays there. Let that boy retire. With the sole exception of some form of Mahito returning. Then, Yuji's gotta keep his word. But I will stand on this point. I do not think we will see any characters from the OG series in current day, and if we do see them at all, it'll be in flashbacks like these ones. Alright gang, we've eaten our vegetables, we've weeded out the tourists. Those of you who remain have come for the dessert. And I am here to tell you that this man is a fraud. He will be all aura, no feats, mark my words. All these comparisons to Sukuna trying to gas him up are to mislead us from the truth that he is closer to the merger than he will ever be to Sukuna. A hypothetical big bad that never amounts to anything in the story. Because I believe that JJK Mojuro will truly be about the siblings we made up with along the way. That's right folks, I think this story is going to be one of reconciliation. If Gege's anticipated 6-month serialization plan ends up being even somewhat accurate, then I think our time will be spent on the relationships between Yuka and Tsurugi, and Maru and Cross. I think 6 months is enough time to tell an interesting story about two parallel sibling relationships and how they could grow to understand their own sibling more through getting to know the other pair. I'm putting the house on this one. I really do believe this is the direction this story's going in, and quite frankly, should go in. To be absolutely clear, I am stoked that we've got and are getting more stories in this universe. In spite of its flaws, I do really love Jujutsu Kaisen, and these new stories in this world are shaping up to be a lot of fun. If any of these predictions / theories end up holding any water, just know that I got lucky. But we'll take it anyways. Let's go. To be honest, even if these spin-offs end up disappointing, I'm just glad my Pookies got a happy ending together. One JJK ship made it to the end. Too many may have had to die on the journey, but you know what? I'll take it.